welcome to Onside SA, where Budge and I and our international pundit Stevie B are going to run through things that have been happening in the past 7 days. And as usual, we will start off with the last one standing. Again, more going out than staying in, Budge.
Paul, I thought it was all the good things last week. Villa let me down, yeah. There are a lot of people
going into week 4. There are 189 entries. Now, not 14, week 4. That's how tough it is, eh? 85 went through, 104 were eliminated, and the winning teams to go through: Arsenal, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Tottenham, Brentford, and Fulham. Stevie's Fulham. And then the losing teams, 104 people went through. Aston Villa, 99.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, 2. Chelsea, 1. Chelsea is struggling, Budge.
Yeah.
Man United also struggling, and Notts Forest. So those are the people that went out. Always like to talk about the ladies. You know, luckily we can talk about these girls. So there's 11 of 84. So they're pushing they used to be around 10%.
Yeah.
They're pushing above that at the moment. Catherine and Pauline Young, Ashley Berger, Laura Delchow. Have I got that right?
You know her well.
Okay. This is the feather duster. That's feather duster in the UK. Laura's still going. Tanila Montana, Werner's Montana ran second once.
Yeah.
Janet Biscoby.
Yeah.
Nicola Grove.
Yeah.
In relation to Bruce. Dean.
Yeah.
Dean. That's right. Bruce Grove's the train station before or after Seven Sisters on the way to Spurs. Chanel Moodley.
Yeah.
And
Angela Jackson.
And there's one more.
Yeah,
Sam Cooper Bull.
Roger's wife.
Former champion still in. Derek Ramsey from Wales. Gary Citron without the E. Greg Pesci, where does he live?
Greg's a Westville man.
Westville man. Ernie Wallace still up Joburg way.
Skip, yeah.
Hassan Mall.
Yeah, local.
And Brett Galley.
Yeah, Brett Joburg man, big Liverpool boy. So I went with Brett and Willie Miller, Liverpool Man City last year.
Okay, good.
Big Liverpool
the international's still in.
Yeah.
Obviously, we mentioned Derek Ramsey. Ken the Comb Moby. Brendan Smith.
Yeah.
Rainier Link, I don't know.
He's Austria. He lives in Austria, Rainier, yeah. And his son Luca entered. Yeah.
Jason Dunbar.
Yeah.
Steve Potter, where's he?
He wasn't bright. He's in London somewhere, but frequenting that neighbourhood.
Justin Gregg.
Yeah, London.
Steve Griffiths.
Yeah.
And Walter Luty, the man who's got a share in the winning horse Polar Light.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Can you believe it? Right. That's the story, Bud. So when does it start this week?
It's this Saturday. There are games on Tuesday. There is a midweek round, but there's a game on Friday as well. So if you want to pick between Leicester and Brentford, Paul, I mentioned last week about the several guys, South African guys, who never got a mention. These are the guys that didn't get a mention that went through.
Okay.
Andre van Bussen, Robbie Tellen, Jay Naidu, Chris Harito, Jared Werners, Mark Jackson, Connor McNeil, Dean Veal, Adam Murta, Shane Cliff, Craig Booth, Yaqub Khan, Jeff Scrooby, Keith Gillespie, Phil Giorgio still in, Nick Northend, Marco Govia, Mark Marinkovitz, Sonny Bildetoy, Mark Fullion, Rod van Rensburg, and the one and only Paul Lafferty.
Oh yeah, I'm hanging tough.
Hanging tough, Paul. So,
hanging tough.
Guys, if you do want to be on Friday, if some of them may be on Brentford, I don't know, but 8 o'clock South African time. Otherwise, 1 o'clock on Saturday is normal.
But is Stevie B still in?
Unfortunately, no. He never had the trust in his beloved Fulham, so he went with Villa.
Right, let's see if Steve, you about?
I'm here, absolutely. Yeah, I went out like sheep. We all went out on Villa.
Yeah, you're right. Talking about going out, Steve. If ever I've seen a braver team than Glasgow Celtic, they had no right to go out, let alone draw 1-1 with Bayern Munich. Did you watch it?
I turned on and watched the last half hour, and they gave it a real go.
Jeez,
I was reading reports. I was watching the other game, and it sounded like they were, they were under the cosh. And then all of a sudden, I think maybe Munich must have thought they had it in the bag, and Celtic gave it a real go. And, they certainly put up more of a fight than City did last night. That's for sure.
Steve, City, after, I watched the first 20 minutes, then it went to 2-0, obviously flicking channels with Liverpool, but, they give goals away. Mbappe is the quickest thing on 2 feet. They try and push out, and just a bad ball over the top, and he goes. You could just see them. I don't know what Stones is doing. Everyone raves about him. I think he's a poor defender. He's good on the ball, but he's getting exposed game after game. And Mbappe, to me, I've always thought he was the best player in the world currently, and a hat-trick of goals. But City, Steve, I don't know if you agree, after a while it looked like they were more interested in saving their players for Sunday against Liverpool.
Well, you know, I think it was fairly telling. They didn't have a shot on target until the 80th minute, when the game was done, and Real just took the foot off the gas. You know, I think he must realise, you know, at 2-0 particularly, the game was over. There was no way they were coming back. In fact, it was over, really, wasn't it, before they even set foot on the pitch, because they were never going to, with the way that they've been playing, they were never going to go there and get a result. And I guess with Haaland dropping out just beforehand and Stones sort of getting injured, it just wasn't going to be their night. And as I was just reading another report this morning, and as we've all been saying, they've somehow got it wrong. They've let them all grow old together, and it's like their legs have gone at the same time. And much as they're trying to replace them, you can't do it mid-season. So, you know, I think they'll come back strong next year, but they'll need some fresh blood in the summer as well.
Steve, champions betting outright. Real Madrid 7-2, Liverpool 4-1, Arsenal and Barcelona 6-1, Bayern Munich 7. I just took it off the internet now. Who do you fancy?
Well, I think, you know, we know this is what they do. Madrid, they get stronger as the season goes on, because they concentrate on the Champions League. For them, this is it. This is what it's all about, and they look really strong last night. You know, I know it was against a relatively weaker City team, but I think they're the team to beat them.
Team to beat, in my opinion, Barcelona. They destroyed them twice, and I think they catch them again. I just don't think they've got midfield players that can cope with them. But you never know. It's interesting that Real Madrid play Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen. The draw's tomorrow. Liverpool will play PSG or Benfica. So then Arsenal, Feyenoord, PSV. So that should be. They'll both be praying that they get the other team. But Liverpool, knowing their luck, they'll get Benfica. Steve, last night, brilliant game. Aston Villa 2, Liverpool 2. What do you think?
Well, it was a good game. You know, Villa in patches play well. Liverpool had the game won in the second half. They just couldn't quite get over the line, and then Villa finished strong at the end. So, you know, it was. You know, I think they did. I saw Van Dijk was being interviewed. Looked pretty upset that they'd let the points slip away, and it keeps it interesting that they're 8 clear. You know, there's still evidently only one team in the history of the Premier League has not gone on to win the league, being that far clear, and that was Newcastle. But so it's in their own hands. Yeah, I've got a lot to do still in my book.
Paul, you watched it. What do you think?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it as a neutral. I enjoyed it. I thought a shocking mistake to give the goal. He tried to play it back to his keeper, Jota, in the box. He just walked it across to Salah. Salah tucked it in the top of the net. Salah, basically his first or second touch, he wasn't sighted, Salah. And then they played well. They came back and they got ahead. And they had them under the cosh. But then Liverpool turned it in the second half, and they looked like they were going to win it. But you always thought they were a threat, Aston Villa.
The thing for me about Aston Villa, with all these whippets that run, other than Tielemans, McGinn gives the ball away too often. And that's when Liverpool were coming back into the game. Villa caught them on the break, and as the final ball was a bad pass, and then it went and the game was on. And the goal was lucky. You know, Trent Alexander got deflected. I don't think would have gone in.
First goal was lucky.
But, you know, I think it was a superb advert for English football. 2-2. I think all the Liverpool boys will be moaning, but I wouldn't be. You know, was it 8 points with a game in hand? They win that. It's down to 5. But goal average is in your favour. But Sunday is a massive game. Anyway, on to the weekend's betting. And Steve, kicks off on Friday. Leicester City versus Brentford. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, Brentford, I think, certainly be favourites. They've won a few away now, and look, Leicester, they played quite well in patches against Arsenal, but ultimately, so you have to think that Brentford will be favourites. Leicester are in danger of sort of falling adrift. You know, I mean, at the moment, there's effectively sort of 4 teams in the bottom that are adrift, and I can't see Leicester getting out of it somehow. This is the sort of game they need to get something from, but somehow I think Brentford will sit back and catch them on the break.
But just quickly asking you and Steve a question. I see a stat you've put here. Leicester's last home games, 5. They've lost them all and didn't score a goal.
Haven't scored a goal.
Not one goal.
A little bit unlucky against Arsenal. A couple of good chances. Indeed, he's back. It'll be more competitive. But you would fancy Brentford. But Brentford, I just don't know what to make of them. They're better away from home, especially against a lesser team. So I agree. They sit back. But I've got a funny feeling this is going to be a draw. Steve, Everton, Man United. I was against United last week. I'm against United this week.
Again.
I think Everton is a great price, 18-10. I'm sure it's going to shorten before the end of the week. But Everton all day for me.
Everton are a different team under David Moyes. It's just sort of given them confidence. I have to say, I thought United played a lot better in patches last week than they have recently, certainly away from home. If you look at the way they played at Fulham, where they didn't have a shot until the end, they probably could have got something out of that Tottenham game. Yeah. But I think Everton at the moment are, especially with the way that they've been playing, they were under the cosh a bit against Palace, but found a way to win. And I just think, as you say, 18-10 is a really good price. I think they should certainly start as favourites.
Yeah, I know they had the better opportunities against Spurs, but that Spurs back 4. 3 of them aren't regulars, and it was basically a mix and match team. This Everton back 4, they're a decent back 4. Tarkowski and Branthwaite and the youngster, I think it's O'Brien at right back. They're going to be down United's throats, and for me, the only thing against is the lunchtime kickoff. But I'm all over Everton. Arsenal to win 2-0, Steve, against West Ham. Is that going to become the norm for them?
Yeah, I think so. Well, West Ham are slightly better away than they are at home. Yeah. I've got this in one of my leagues. I've got Arsenal to win by at least 2 goals, but I fancy maybe West Ham might pinch a goal. But this is the game Arsenal have to win. Yeah. They haven't always. They came unstuck against them last year. But I think that this is the game they have to win, and the hope that sort of City get something against Liverpool on Sunday.
Yeah, I just think they'll work it out with a team. Sterling played an absolute nightmare. Everything he tried, he was offside. He couldn't go right. I just think this is going to be another 1-0, 2-0. The only reason I'm going against West Ham scoring is I watched the early game. They got beat 6. Something about a phobia playing Arsenal, Steve. I know at the Emirates they've had 1 or 2 upsets. I remember when they went Slaven Village, they won 2-0 first game of the season. Dimitri Payet scored, but I think this Arsenal team, they know what they're going to do. They're going to block everything out. The only way West Ham will score from me is from a set piece. But Arsenal to win, both teams to score, no even money.
That's your idea?
That's my suggestion. Yeah. Okay. Bournemouth Wolves, Steve.
Good game.
They meet in the Cup next weekend. I can't believe Bournemouth are 5th in the league. And Wolves, I was impressed, even though they got beat by Liverpool. I was impressed. I think this is going to be a bit of a feisty affair, Steve.
Yeah, get the yellow cards.
I think so, and I think you're right. I think Wolves, when you look at the league table, and for me, I'm still surprised they're as far down as they are. But I think they're going to pull away. Whether they'll get something at Bournemouth, I'm not sure. But their second half performance at Liverpool, they were by far the better team. Yeah. And obviously with Cunha in the team and fit, they're always he's a danger. Bournemouth, on the other hand, are having a fantastic season. Obviously, by far their best ever in the Premier League. I think for me, Bournemouth Wolves could hold them, but I think Bournemouth might just edge this one.
Me too. I'm all over Bournemouth. Yeah, the right way is Bournemouth to win. Both teams to score 2-1. But I'm going to be looking at. I haven't had a look who the referee is, but one thing about Wolves, they go behind, they start kicking a few people, and I think they can play. This is going to be a good game. Yeah. Talking a good game, Steve, I thought your boys were superb last week. I thought Notts Forest would give them a game. 2-1 was an understatement. It should have been 3 or 4. Only problem is playing Crystal Palace. They don't push out. And I think this is going to be a tighter game than last week.
Yeah, look, it's interesting. I mean, I thought last week it was as good as I've seen this play all season.
Yeah, very.
Palace are a bit of a bogey side for us at home. We haven't beaten them in nearly 20 years, believe it or not. Away, we do very well there. Yeah. And as you say, they sit back and they catch you on the break. And they're actually unbeaten in about 7 or 8 away from home at the moment. It's at home where Palace are struggling. So, but I think if we could get ahead, it's a game that I think we're capable of winning. Should be a good game. London derby. As I say, we're hanging on in 8th place, which is as better than I think anybody thought that we might do this year. So I'm looking forward to it. I think there'll be goals. I think, unfortunately, we struggle to keep a clean sheet. So if we are to win, it's going to be something like 2-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, I thought both teams have scored 8.5 to 10 was the right way in that particular clash. On to our second page, and we've got Ipswich Tottenham. Paul?
Yeah, they beat us at home. I think we'll beat them. I think we've got players coming back at the right time. We've got the tricky winger coming back in. One of the centre-backs has been back in. Vicario kept a clean sheet. Always a tough game because Liam Delap is a terror.
Threat.
Yeah, he'll be having a full go at the two centre-halves, whoever they're going to play. I just hope we've got one of the big guns back, and it doesn't look like it.
Okay.
It looks like it's going to be Davies and Gray at the moment, and with a few on the bench. But let's hope it. Anything can happen. I thought we'd slaughter them at Spurs, and we got beat 2-1. I think we can win. We're starting to play well. Madison's getting people playing in the middle, and we've got a few players in the middle that we can use. So I think we're a better side player for player.
Yeah.
And we've won our last 2, so maybe the confidence is growing. But whenever you watch Spurs, you've always got that apprehension.
How do you see it, Steve?
Yeah, I fancy Tottenham to get a result there. I think Ipswich will certainly give them a good game.
Yeah.
But I just think, as Paul said, they've got players coming back. They've had a couple of good wins now, and I just think that this is the sort of game if they want to start climbing up the table. This is the sort of game. Ipswich will give them a good game. Ipswich are still down there, and I think for me, Ipswich will go, but they'll go by putting up a fight. I think I can see Ipswich pulling away from Leicester and Southampton, but not catching Wolves. But for me, I think if Tottenham, with players coming back, this is the game they really should be targeting to get 3 points.
Yeah, I just don't trust Tottenham other than in the corner market. Every week, over 6.5 corner Spurs. I think they had about 11 last week is even money. That's my suggestion.
Just talking about corners, interrupt you. I went and looked at the sites last night because I thought, and they only had 9.5 and more. They never had lower than that. And
No.
You got to get, and they easily got 10 corners.
That's just the Spurs only 6.5. Even when they're getting beat, they're having a go.
Yeah,
and that's what I like about Spurs. As far as the match odds, I can't trust Spurs even money away from home.
Certainties.
I know Ipswich have lost, 6 of the last 7. It's only Chelsea that beat at home. I was impressed with the fight they showed last week against Aston Villa. Down to 10 men, they had a go. They showed something for winning a relegation team. Yeah. I just don't think even money Spurs. It could prove a good bet, but both teams, I think there's goals in this. Wouldn't surprise me. Over 3.5, over 4.5 goals.
There's always
Spurs
goals
can't concede, they can score.
They can score.
So over 3.5 goals is my suggestion, 13 to 10. But I think the right bet, over 6.5 Spurs corners, even money. South Coast Derby, Steve.
Sorry, Steve, just before you go on to Steve, what is that even money? Corners?
Spurs to have over 6.5 corners.
Oh, just them, not both.
I think it's 11. I think it's 11.5 total corners.
Thanks.
But Steve, South Coast Derby, is there any chance Southampton can cause an upset?
Yes.
I would be very surprised. I mean, they've certainly playing a little better, but the results. Again, if you look under the new manager, it's hard to see that they're going to get many more points. Really, in all honesty, Brighton. Look, I thought they were superb against Chelsea last week, and you really would fully expect them to get all 3 points.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I really impressed the last 2 games. It looked like the original Brighton. Southampton are going to give it a go. They just can't keep any clean sheets. So you've got to fancy Brighton. The -1 handicap was 14 to 10. But there's going to be over 3.5 goals certainly here. That's my suggestion at 14 to 10. Aston Villa, Chelsea, Steve. I can't believe Aston Villa are that big a price.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe again because they've had a tough game obviously last night.
Thanks, Mark.
Chelsea was so disappointing at Brighton. I mean, I thought that they would, playing their first 11 would do well, but they were really very rarely in the game. They've had a more than a whole week because they played on the Friday night, haven't played this week. But, Villa going forward look really dangerous.
Yeah.
And again,
Be a good game.
he can mix them. Unai Emery can mix the match. He's got a lot of attacking players. It's as you said, it's the midfield and the defence. So if Chelsea are able to sort of hold out, then I'm sure they'll probably score. But I think Villa, for me, should probably start as favourites because I think with sort of Rashford, Asensio, Malin, the new players, as well as sort of the Watkins and Ramsey, have got a very potent attacking front line.
Yeah, I just can't believe Chelsea are 15-10. Their last 2 games against Brighton were woeful. Every time they started off well, win a goal behind, and that was it. My suggestion is Aston Villa to win or draw and over 2.5 goals. I think that's a cinch. I'll be on, and it was 16-10. I couldn't believe that, so I'll be on later on this morning. The other way is Aston Villa to score over 1.5 goals at even money. That's my other suggestion. Newcastle Forest, Steve, you had a good look at Forest last week. Totally outplayed. I was disappointed in them. Chris Wood looks like he's tired. I don't know, that's what it looked like to me. He didn't have much support. I know you guys played well, but I think they could be in trouble at Newcastle.
He scored, didn't he?
Well, the only thing is, if you look at Newcastle's last few games, I mean, they've sort of gone off the boil. I mean, they were well beaten at City, lost at home to us and Bournemouth. They're going to have to sort of step it up a bit. Forest, as you say, I mean, they weren't in the races last week. I mean, Chris Wood scored very much against the run of play, but they didn't really do much else. And I was slightly surprised. I thought it would be a very tough game. In the end, it wasn't. But Newcastle have got to bounce back because they were sitting sort of pretty in sort of fourth, fifth place, and now they're just starting to slide a little bit. I think for me, Newcastle starts as favourites, but they're going to have to play better than they have done recently.
Yeah, I fancy Newcastle. The only thing sometimes with the League Cup final, I think it's in 2 weeks' time, all the players are worried about the Cup final. And Newcastle, from what I'm led to believe, play Liverpool in midweek. So, but they want to get Champions League. They've got to get a result here. Forest are disappointing. You never know. Last year they went there and caught them on the break. I think they beat them 3 or 4-1. So any result's possible, but it is Sunday, and I fancy Newcastle all day. Big game of the weekend, Man City, Liverpool, Steve. Liverpool unbeaten in 22 games, but I don't fancy them here.
Neither do I.
What do you think?
Well, look, again, this is a tough run they're having, Liverpool, and a hard game last night after a hard game last week against Everton as well. City have got to be up for it. I mean, Pep must be smarting, out of contention possibly in the league, but they could do some damage, and I think they might want to show Liverpool that they've still got something left. But the only problem is if Haaland is out, as we don't know what the how ill he was not to be able to play last night. They really look very weak up front. I can see them holding Liverpool. I can see this being another score draw, which doesn't really suit either team, in all honesty. Yeah,
I fancy Man City. Just watching a little bit last night. They'll play Marmoush. Haaland will be back. There's a vendetta going on with him in Liverpool. Sacked in the morning. They weren't going to Real Madrid. I think Pep, after 20 minutes, realised and put the brake on. They're all sitting waiting for this game. I saw Doku was on the bench. De Bruyne, whether he starts or not. I like Nico Gonzalez who came on. I think they'll play Marmoush and Haaland up front. Liverpool, the boys are dropping like flies. Trent wasn't happy when he came off, but he didn't look 100%. Connor Bradley got injured, so they're going to have to play Kwanzaa out there. Middle of park, they just seem to be giving too much space, Steve. If Man City can get the act together,
be a great game.
It's 9-10 then to score over 1.5 goals, which was my main suggestion. But 18-10 Man City, I think that's a great price to have a bet. But all my Liverpool mates,
bad luck.
Bad luck, yeah. Anyway, on to the championship. There are a couple of games in midweek. Both 1-1 draws. Preston, Millwall, Luton, Plymouth. There's a big game on Friday, Steve. I can't believe the rumours that they may be looking to fire Michael Carrick. I know their form's terrible. Bristol City are going great. They're only a few points out the playoff places. I think there's goals in this, Steve, but I wouldn't be taking 12-10 Bristol City, would you?
Well, they've won 5 out of 6 at home they're very strong at home.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough, I don't know what's happened. At one point they looked as if they were going to be real playoff contenders, and they've slipped badly. So again, but they sold their star striker, brought in Morgan Whittaker from Plymouth, but he hasn't scored the goals that Lafe Lafter is doing. So for me, and I fancy Bristol City. I think they're a good side, and at home it's 5 out of 6 wins. I think those are decent odds.
Yeah, I just think Friday night games, and I like Michael Carrick. He hasn't moaned. They sold, was it Akpom the year before? So I think he deserves a bit of credit, and if he walks, someone else will grab him. But 12 to 10 is short for me. I would rather go the goals, over 2.5 goals, just under even money. Now Burnley, your mate Eric Redmond sent me a stat: 10 clean sheets in a row.
Burnley.
The only problem is they've had 13 0-0 draws. That's why they're third in the league. I think 8 to 10 is a great price, Steve. I think he's going to have a full go. He's going to have to release the break. They should have beat Preston last week. I know my boy's got a great 0-0 draw. Sheffield Wednesday, can't keep a clean sheet, Steve. I'm all over Burnley. You agree?
Me too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's an amazing stat. In the last 12 games, Burnley, they conceded 1 goal.
Yeah.
But they've only scored 13.
Yeah.
As you say, they're either winning 1-0 or drawing 0-0, and it's fine. They're pretty much guaranteed a playoff place, but they're slipping behind the top 2, Sheffield United and Leeds. So I think that they've got to start turning these 0-0s into wins.
Yeah.
And I think they will.
Yeah, comfortable with 22 to 10
and
to
obviously
win.
the big.
Sorry, Steve?
I think they'll win. I'd be very, very surprised if they don't.
Yeah, to win to 0 is 15 to 10. I think they'll win by more than 1 goal at 22 to 10. That's my suggestion. Derby, haven't won in 10. 2 points in the last 10 league games against a Millwall team. Only lost 1 in 7. But I think this has got draw written all over it, Steve. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought the odds look a bit short for Derby. I mean, they obviously we've got a new manager now who only came in at the end of last week, so he would have had this week to work with the players, John Eustace. So a draw, I think, is quite possible. Obviously, Millwall, I think, have done quite well away from home recently. So I'm not sure. I don't think Derby got enough to beat them, but they could hold them.
Yeah. Steve, Plymouth-Cardiff, good result for Plymouth. Slowly trying to get back out of the relegation zone, but Cardiff City, I've watched them a couple of times. The set-piece kings. Both teams to score here just under 8 to 10, I think it's a certainty, but is 27 to 10 the draw the right way to go?
It could be, but Plymouth under this new manager, they're making themselves hard to beat, and they could find themselves out of the bottom 3 with a win.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the sort of game that I think that they'll go for it. For me, I just fancy Plymouth to win by the odd goal.
Okay, well, the last 2 home games have beat West Brom and Millwall, so got to fancy them, but they've had a lot of hard games lately. On to our second page, and we've got Sunderland, Hull City. Brilliant game Monday night, Steve. I thought Sunderland were outstanding. Hull City, their last time they played a decent team. They won 3-0 at Sheffield United. Any chance for another upset?
A lot they could do, but again, very inconsistent. But I think Sunderland, I watched the game, I thought they were superb.
Yeah.
Hanging on a bit in the last 15 and they got caught. But if they can play as they did in the first half, I think Sunderland should be too strong for them.
Yeah, 10 wins, 6 draws, the last 16 home league games. Coventry City on a bit of a roll, Steve. You think they'll be too strong for my boys, Preston?
I'm afraid I think they will do. I think if this was at Preston, I think it would be different. I think Preston would at least hold them. Yeah. But Coventry just turned the corner, having a bit of a run and having a bit of a push for a playoff place. So I think, for me, Coventry to win. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but I think Coventry will just nick it.
With my boy the Biter up front, Osmatics will score, but I think we get beat 2 or 3-1. Coventry to win an over 2.5 total goals, 22 to 10. Hate to say it, but I think that's the right way to go. Norwich seem to have gone off the board lately, Steve, but 6 to 10 against Stoke City, isn't it a bit short?
I think it looks a bit short. I mean, I think you expect Norwich to win this, but as you say, very inconsistent and have gone off the boil. Stoke, you're not sure what you're going to get. They had a good win last week. I think that Stoke are capable of getting a point there. I think Norwich will probably just edge it, but 6-10, way too short.
Yeah, both teams to score looks a good thing to me. Portsmouth, great home form, 5 wins of the last 7 against a QPR team who at one stage thought they were going to sneak into the playoff places. They've lost the last couple. Hard to look past Portsmouth for me here, Steve.
Yeah, I think Portsmouth have really pulled themselves up, and at home they're strong. This should be a good game. QPR had a good win on Friday night against Derby.
Yeah.
I fancy Portsmouth though. I think both teams will score, but I fancy Portsmouth just to edge it.
Yeah, on to our final page of the championship, and we've got Swansea against Blackburn. Steve, I can't believe the betting. I think they got it the wrong way around. Swansea lost 7 of the last 9. Their last 3 at home. Blackburn always seem to find a result somewhere. I'm looking at draw on Blackburn here. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I fancy. I mean, Blackburn had that little bit of a wobble, but they've sort of cut back now, sitting pretty in a playoff place, and I think they'll go there and get a win.
Yeah, I just don't see them getting beat. West Brom, who always seem to catch me against an Oxford United side, Steve, haven't won in 5, but are making it hard to get beaten. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I think, look, Gary Rowe's doing a great job with limited resources at Oxford. West Brom just finding it hard at the moment, but yeah. I think that they should start as favourites though.
All right, Watford Luton Town, how do you see it going?
Yeah, this is the derby. You know, there's absolutely no love lost between these clubs. Luton got a point last night, but away from home, I mean, they've been wretched.
Yeah,
I've just got a feeling that because it's very passionate game, and even though Watford haven't shown a lot of form, I think for me that Watford will go all out to win this game, and I fancy a home win.
Yeah, I totally agree. 14-10s in all my bets, even though they've lost their last 5 at home. Luton 1 point from the last 13 away from home. I'm on to Watford all day. Hopefully it's on ESPN so I can watch it. And last but not least, Monday night, Steve, top against second top. How do you see it?
Great game.
Yeah, it should be a cracking game. I mean, there was I thought I was very impressed with the way that Leeds came back against Sunderland on Monday. Yeah. Sheffield United, I mean, the odds very much stacked in favour of Leeds. I think, you might look at that Sheffield United, whether it's 26-10, and think those are value, but Leeds are for me, Leeds are the team going to win the league. They've got so much attacking force and players who have played in the Premier League that I think that I personally think Leeds will go and get a result there. Huge crowd, be a sellout. Looking forward to that. So for me, I think either a draw or an away win.
Yeah, I think there's goals again, Steve. 9.5 to 10, both teams to score over 2.5 goals. This is a free bite for them all. Depends if Burnley get a result, which I think they will. This is all to play for. They've got, I think it's a 3 or 4 point gap to Burnley, but they're both going to go for it. Can't wait. Of the 2 teams, you've got to fancy Leeds United, because they did outplay them in the original game, or the first game. I watched it. But Sheffield United at home, they won't go down without a fight. Steve, pressure time again. I need your best bet and value bet.
Yeah, tricky trick. Although the odds are not as low as they could be, I'm going to go for Watford. I just this is the game that the fans want to win, and I'm going for them. And for my value bet, I'm going for Blackburn. I think you mentioned it, but I that and thought I couldn't understand why Swansea are favourites with the form that they've been showing. So. That's for me. Watford at home and Blackburn away.
All right, Steve, I'm on Burnley. I don't like doing Friday night games. I just think they're good things. So rather than letting people down, Watford was my second best. So I took Burnley, and my value bet's Man City, 18-10. I think it's a great price. I think it's payback, and I think Liverpool are teetering. I think Man City pull the sledgehammer out and give them a smack and put the league back into
tighter
confines. Yeah. Steve, thanks as always. We'll speak over the weekend.
All the best,
Absolutely.
Steve.
Cheers. Bye, Paul.
Bye-bye. PSL, Tuesday's results. Cape Town City got beat at home to Chipper. Kaiser Chiefs.
I actually watched the game, Paul. The guy Serena got sent off. It looked like he didn't want to play anymore. He was unlucky. He handballed the 1 yellow card. Then there was a bit of a skirmish, a bad tackle, and he jumped in, tried to be clever. Fourth official came off, but they took the goals well.
What game was that?
That was Tuesday night, Chiefs Supersport.
Yeah, 4-1, eh?
4-1, yeah. And listen to Gavin, he wasn't, we've been playing like this all the time, but we haven't taken the chances. I thought that was a bit rich, but he obviously in charge, he knows.
990th game or something, you know. Polokwane were beaten at home as well to Magezi.
Yeah.
Is Larson still involved there?
No, he's gone.
He's gone. I thought he was gone.
Yeah.
TX Galaxy beaten at home as well, 2-3 to Stellenbosch.
Team, yeah. Steve Barker.
And then Wednesday's results, too much rain for the Pirates, Golden Arrows down here. Gallant's going to be Sundowns.
I watched it, Paul. They tried hard, Golden Maruma Gallants. It's a good game. They 1-0 up, but they got too cocky and got caught. 1-all, 2-1, and Sundowns, class team, Paul.
Class team. And then Amazulu beaten away from home.
Sekakuna 4-2. Hard to win there, Paul.
All right, let's go look at the games this week. Starts on Friday evening. Stellenbosch doing well against Richards Bay.
Yeah, Paul, even money, it'd be around there. You never know with your PSL odds, Paul, but I've got a fancy Stellenbosch of the two sides. Richards Bay didn't play in midweek, but even money, nothing wrong with that, Paul. Chipper United against Sekakuna. Chipper always hard to beat in East London, Paul.
Okay.
Sekakuna going well, they're in 4th place.
Good game.
Good game. The draws a play for me. Pirates, Cape Town City, they won the 2 games at home, and everyone was cock a hoop after they fired Tinkler. They've been woeful since. Woeful. Pirates 5-10 didn't play in midweek. You got to fancy Pirates. Paul, Sundance TS Galaxy. I watched their previous meeting a couple of weeks ago. TS Galaxy beat them 1-0. The way they celebrated like they won the World Cup. Yeah. Durban City beat them, and they drew for a hiding. Paul, I don't know what the -1 handicap is, but I think Sundowns are going to bury them.
Will Amazulu at home beat Magezi?
Well, I hope so, Paul. It's at Moses Mabhida, but we just don't know what the pitch is going to be like with all the rain.
Yeah.
You know, Magezi have come right, Paul. They've won their last 2.
Yeah.
Have a go. They beat them in the cup, the Nedbank, so a bit of feeling, but 5-10 is short for Amazulu, but I think they'll win. I can't believe the betting here, Paul.
7-10, Polokwane.
Yeah, Paul. That team fought hard in Bloemfontein. Not easy winning in Bloem. They've only lost 1. That was the Sundowns at home of recent. I would love to see what the price is, win and draw Maruma Gallants. I'd imagine 13, 14-10. I know Polokwane are going well, they're 3rd, but 7-10 is a bit short. And have Supersport turn the corner, Paul? We'll see with this game. Score 4 against Chiefs, Nurkovic on fire, 13-10. Definitely looks worth an interest.
Okay. Right, but let's go and look at your bets.
Yeah, Paul, kick off obviously with the Soccer 6, and I've gone Everton win and draw at home against Man United, the field in the Deportivo Alaves versus Espanyol game, and the Chipper United versus Sekakuna United fixture. Orlando Pirates to be too strong for Cape Town City. Bologna win and draw at Parma, and I'm chancing Borussia Mönchengladbach to beat Augsburg 2-1-6.
Okay.
On to our second Soccer 6. I'm banking Bournemouth to beat Wolves. Fulham win and draw at home against Crystal Palace. Looking for the upset in the Ipswich Town Tottenham clash. Banking Brighton to win at Southampton. I don't see Blackburn Rovers losing at Swansea City in the field in the Rayo Vallecano Villarreal match 2-1-6. On to the Soccer 10. I'm going the field in the Chipper United Sekakuna United game. Banking Orlando Pirates to beat Cape Town City. Bologna to avoid defeat at Parma. Arsenal to beat West Ham United, and Bournemouth to beat Wolves. On to the second page, I'm going Fulham to avoid defeat at home against Crystal Palace. The field in the Ipswich Town Tottenham match. Brighton to be too strong away from home at Southampton. The field in the Rayo Vallecano versus Villarreal fixture, and I'm banking Mamelodi Sundowns to beat TS Galaxy 2-1-6. On to the Soccer 13, I'm banking Aston Villa to beat Chelsea, Arsenal to beat Tottenham, Tottenham win and draw at Ipswich, 3 bankers. Fulham to beat Crystal Palace, Bournemouth to beat Wolves, and Brighton to win at Southampton. Don't see my beloved Preston North End winning at Coventry City, so it's Coventry City win and draw. On to the second page, I'm going Norwich City win and draw at home against Stoke City, Portsmouth win and draw at home against Queen's Park Rangers, Blackburn Rovers win and draw at Swansea City, going for West Brom to win at home against Oxford United, and 2 League One games to end off. Leyton Orient win and draw at Bolton Wanderers, and Northampton Town win and draw against Bristol Rovers 256.
Excellent. Here are Budge, my
yeah,
favourite
Paul.
page.
Yeah, a couple of big prices this week, Paul. The first one's a treble. I'm going for Everton to beat Man United. Man City to beat Liverpool, and Aston Villa to win or draw, and over 2.5 total goals. 3,600 to 200. My team goal sides are Everton, Bournemouth, Aston Villa and Man City, all to score over 1.5 goals. 3,000 to 200.
Nice bet that.
Yeah, onto the championship. I'm going Burnley to beat Sheffield Wednesday, Watford to beat Luton Town, and over 2.5 goals in the Sunderland Hull City and Sheffield United Leeds United fixtures. 3,600 to 200. Both teams to score sides are Plymouth Cardiff, Coventry City Preston, Norwich City Stoke City, and Sheffield United Leeds United. 2,400 to 200. We stay in Spain. I'm going Getafe to beat Real Sociedad, Barcelona to win at Las Palmas, and both teams to score in the Rayo Vallecano Villarreal and Sevilla Mallorca games. 2,200 to 200. And I Collis King 6 or Nixa. I'm going Bournemouth to beat Wolves, Man City to beat Liverpool, Burnley to beat Sheffield Wednesday, Watford to beat Luton Town, Barcelona to beat Las Palmas, and Athletic Bilbao to beat Real Valladolid.
Good odds.
5,700 to 200. Paul, I like to throw a team with a price.
Yeah.
Otherwise, but Man City's a lurker this week, 18 to 10, Paul.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, there we go. Budge, and last one standing starts Friday night. Till next time, stay on side.